For millions of people, football isn't just a game, it's a way of life. From backyard scrimmages to the Super Bowl, from Friday Night Lights to billion-dollar TV deals, football has woven itself deep into the fabric of American culture. But why? Why has football become one of the most dominant sports in the US? What makes it so powerful, not just as a competition, but as a cultural institution? In this segment of Social Theory Today, we're breaking down football as a microcosm of society, exploring how its rituals, structures, and fandom function as forces of validation and cultural transmission. At its core, football is about accreditation, both explicit and implicit. Players, coaches, and teams are validated or sanctioned based on performance, teamwork, and strategy. But this extends beyond the field. Football is a socially accredited system, reinforcing larger cultural values about power, discipline, and identity. Let's start with the hierarchy of football. The sport is built on rigid structures. High school teams feed into college programs, and only the best make it to the professional level. Every step along the way, validation is earned through competition, and deviation is punished, whether through losing playing time, being benched, or even cut from a team. This aligns with how SAT explains social hierarchies. Accreditation systems determine who is validated, who rises through the ranks, and who is left behind. The same dynamics play out off the field, where coaches, analysts, and even fans participate in validating or condemning players, coaches, and teams based on their adherence to the sport's norms. Football isn't just about competition, it's about belonging. Fans invest emotional, social, and financial capital into their teams, creating tribal identities that are reinforced through symbols, rituals, and in-group versus out-group dynamics. Through SAT, we see football fandom as a form of social accreditation. Your loyalty is validated by how much you invest, whether that's through attending games, wearing team colours, or engaging in rivalries. This is why bandwagon fans are often socially sanctioned. They're seen as illegitimate because they haven't demonstrated the proper cultural capital needed to be accredited as true fans. At the extreme end, football fandom can border on schismogenesis, a process where groups define themselves in opposition to others. Whether it's college rivalries like Alabama versus Auburn, or NFL feuds like the Browns versus Steelers, fans use accreditation and sanctioning to enforce who belongs and who doesn't. Even sports media plays a role here. Pundits, highlight reels, and game day traditions shape who gets validated as legends and who gets discarded as failures. The stories of football, whether about dynasties, underdogs, or controversial figures, become narratives of social accreditation, reinforcing values that extend far beyond the game. Football's dominance isn't just a coincidence, it's the result of cultural transmission across generations, media, and institutions. Take its relationship with academia. College football isn't just entertainment, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that helps shape university identities, fund programs, and even influence admissions. Schools like Alabama, Ohio State, and Texas are known just as much for their football programs as for their academics, and in many ways, success on the field validates the institution itself. This connection between education and athletics reinforces football's legitimacy at every level. From Pee-wee leagues to high school championships, the sport is accredited as a pathway to success, both socially and financially. Scholarships, TV contracts, and alumni donations all hinge on football's cultural capital, further embedding it into the social structure. But it doesn't stop there. Media narratives also fuel football's accreditation. The success of television ratings for football broadcasts has made the sport one of the most lucrative entertainment properties in history. The Super Bowl isn't just a game, it's a cultural event where advertising, celebrity, and sports collide in a spectacle that generates hundreds of millions in revenue. Through SAT, we see this as a feedback loop. The more football is validated through media exposure, advertising dollars, and fan engagement, the stronger its accreditation becomes, reinforcing its dominance across generations. But football isn't just about reinforcing norms, it's also a battleground for cultural evolution. As with any accredited system, challenges to the established order can either result in reform or entrenchment. Take the debate over player activism. Figures like Colin Kaepernick disrupted football's traditional accreditation systems by using the game as a platform for social and political statements. The response? Some institutions sanctioned him, effectively blacklisting him from the NFL, while others validated his protest, turning him into a symbol of resistance. This is a classic SAT dynamic. Social systems resist deviations from established norms. But if enough accreditation shifts, from media narratives to fan support, then norms evolve. The same happened with head trauma research and rule changes. What was once an accepted part of the game has become a major point of ethical debate, forcing the sport to adapt. In this way, football doesn't just reflect society, it helps shape it. It's a high-stakes arena where the forces of validation, hierarchy, and social accreditation collide in real time, defining who gets remembered, who gets erased, and how the game itself evolves. Football is far more than a sport. It's a social institution, a system of accreditation, and a cultural powerhouse that validates values, identities, and institutions. Whether through competition, fandom, or media narratives, football serves as a laboratory of social forces, constantly evolving through accreditation and resistance. By applying social accreditation theory, we can see how the game extends far beyond the field. It's about who gets validated, who gets sanctioned, and how cultural transmission ensures that football remains deeply embedded in the American identity. Thanks for joining us on Social Theory today. Join us next time as we explore more of the forces shaping our understanding of the world. And in the meantime, whether you're watching a game, playing on the field, or debating with friends, take a moment to reflect. What's really being accredited in the world of football?